All but me, 33, brand manager at a mid-sized ad agency in Portland. Like 160-ish employees, enough corporate sludge to be annoying, but not enough to have real perks. Married to Kyle, 35, civil engineer. Always somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, staring at bridges and arguing with contractors, together almost a decade, married 5 years, no kids yet. But we've been doing the whole maybe next year talk more and more. Kyle's got this tight little college wolf pack, 5 dudes, been glued together since freshman year, like 14 years of inside jokes and matching flannel energy. Every Thursday night is sacred. Indoor soccer at some sports complex, then beers after. Sometimes it turns into a late night because we haven't caught up in forever, even though they literally did last week, plus a weekend hiking trip like once a month. Just the guys and random weeknight beers when one of them has a bad day at work. They're honestly fine. When I'm around, they're polite. They don't say weird shit. They invite me along sometimes for mixed stuff, cookouts, game nights, that kind of thing. Never felt disrespected. But then I start doom-scrolling relationship discourse. Big mistake. Get deep into articles about emotional labor, mental load, how men use the boys as a pressure valve so they don't have to be emotionally present at home. How guys' night is just adult escapism with a different label. Read this piece about some feminist couples who restructured their social lives for equity. Basically, no more gender-segregated hangouts. Social time has to be shared, or at least mixed, because male-only bonding apparently reinforces patriarchal loyalty patterns and keeps men emotionally unavailable. Sit there like, wow, this is actually kind of genius. This is what progressive relationships are supposed to look like. Start paying attention to Kyle's schedule. Thursday soccer, every week, no exceptions, monthly hiking weekends, and the bonus beers, do the math in my head. He's spending like 16 to 22 hours a month doing male-only bonding rituals. Meanwhile, I'm the one running the invisible admin of our life, remembering birthdays on both sides, keeping track of holidays, making sure the fridge has actual food, planning social stuff, organizing the apartment so it doesn't turn into a storage unit. One Thursday he comes home from soccer, smells like sweat and IPA, happy, relaxed, acting like he just got back from a spa, and something in me snaps. Tell him, Kyle, we need to talk about your friend group. He blinks at me like I just said the dog filed taxes. What about them? Did one of them do something to you? So I lay it out. Tell him I've been thinking about relationship equity, that male-only hangouts reinforce patriarchal patterns, that they encourage emotional unavailability, that progressive couples should have integrated social lives, not gender segregation. He sits down real slow, faces genuinely confused. Are you saying I can't hang out with my friends anymore? I tell him, no, not exactly, but our social lives should be shared, and if he's doing Thursday soccer, then I should be included, or we should replace it with a mixed activity, something we do together, or something that isn't just the guys. Kyle tries to explain it like he's talking to an HR rep. Thursday is tradition. We've done it since college. These are my closest friends. It's not about excluding you. It's about keeping the friendship alive. Then he hits me with, you have that women-only book club, right? And I'm like, nope, not the same. Explain women. Only spaces are about safety and support in a patriarchal society. Men-only spaces reinforce dominance and avoidance. He looks like someone just told him gravity is sexist, starts getting frustrated. So you can have gender-specific friendships, but I can't? That doesn't sound equitable at all. I tell him he's missing the structural power part. The whole point is the system, not individual feelings. We go to bed with that thick tension, like the air is heavier in the bedroom. Next few weeks I don't drop it. Bring it up from different angles, send him articles, podcast clips, infographics with pastel colors, explaining male bonding. Tell him how his Thursday absences leave me alone handling stuff. How the hiking weekends mean I spend Saturdays doing groceries and cleaning solo. Like I'm running the household while he's off doing bonding rituals in the woods. Kyle pushes back every time. I do my share. I cook on Sundays. I handle repairs. I do the car stuff. I manage our bills and investments. My friends aren't stopping me from being a good husband. And he's not wrong, which is annoying, but I can tell the guilt starts creeping in anyway, especially when I casually mention what I did while he was gone. Oh yeah, I dealt with the insurance call while you were at soccer. Had to call your mom back about Thanksgiving plans during your hike. Spent half my Saturday scrubbing the bathroom until it smelled like bleach. He gets that look like he's doing mental math. 2 months into me pressing this issue, one of his buddies, Ethan, gets engaged. Bachelor party planning starts immediately weekend in Vancouver. 3 days of activities. All 5 of the guys going. Kyle is hyped, requests time off, helps plan the whole itinerary like he's a travel agent. Week before the trip, I tell him I'm not comfortable with it. 3 days of male-only bonding feels regressive. Bachelor parties are basically a museum exhibit of toxic masculinity. Last night of freedom, ball and chain, vibes. Kyle just stares at me. Ethan is one of my best friends. I'm literally in the wedding party. I can't just not go. I tell him that's exactly the problem. These are patriarchal traditions we're supposed to be questioning, that truly progressive couples don't participate in gender-segregated celebrations. Suggest a compromise. He can go for the dinner only, skip the full weekend, or bring me along. I can do my own thing in the city while they do theirs. And he can come back to the hotel at night like a responsible partnered adult. He goes quiet for a long minute, then finally says, "So you want me to skip my best friend's bachelor party, or bring my wife like a chaperone?" Do you hear how controlling that sounds? I tell him it's not about control. Tell him it's about fairness and shared values. That if he actually believes the progressive stuff he says he does, he'd get why all male bonding rituals are a problem. We argue in circles for hours. Me quoting concepts, him staring like I'm speaking in HR buzzwords. Eventually he just goes, "I'm going to Vancouver. We can talk when I'm back." I'm instantly seething. Feels like he's brushing off my concerns like I'm nagging about socks. He leaves for the weekend anyway. While he's gone, I do what any sane person does. Post on a feminist Facebook group. Type out this long thing like, "My husband refuses to stop his male-only friend group despite my concerns about patriarchal bonding. He's currently at a bachelor party weekend that excludes partners." How do I help him understand this undermines equity in our relationship? Phone starts blowing up. Tons of supportive replies. Male bonding is toxic masculinity in motion. You have every right to set boundaries. His friends are probably reinforcing sexist attitudes. Stand firm. Don't let him put bros before partnership. I'm eating it up, feels validating. Then I get a handful of comments that are, not that people need friends outside their marriage. Gender-specific friendships aren't automatically oppressive. This sounds kinda controlling, honestly. It irritates me way more than it should. Immediately label those as internalized misogyny. Scroll past, mentally delete them. Kyle gets back from Vancouver, and he's weirdly quiet, not angry exactly, just distant. I ask how it went. He gives me the most dry, minimal recap imaginable. It was fine. Ethan had a good time, like he's reading a weather report. I keep probing. What did you guys do? Did you talk about relationships at all? Did anyone say anything about me not being comfortable with the trip? He looks at me, dead serious. We had a private bachelor weekend for our friend. I'm not going to come home and give you a report like you're supervising me. I try to backpedal. Say that's not what I'm doing. I just want to understand what happened during 3 days of male-only time. He shakes his head like he's done with this conversation and just goes into the bedroom. Week after that, I pitch an idea. Instead of his Thursday soccer, we do a couples game night. Invite his friends and their girlfriends, all fiancés. Build community together. Make it integrated. Less gender-segregated nonsense. Kyle doesn't even hesitate. No, I'm keeping Thursday soccer. It matters to me, and I'm not giving it up. I point out how that basically proves he values male bonding over our relationship, that a truly feminist man would prioritize shared activities, and he says something I honestly didn't see coming. You know what? Fine. You think gender-segregated stuff is the problem? Let's be consistent then. I'm like, what does that even mean? He starts listing my stuff. Your book club is women only. Your yoga studio is basically all women. Your monthly brunch with your old college friends is just you and the girls. If I'm supposed to give up my guy friendships, you're giving up your girl ones. I start doing the power dynamic speech again, and he cuts me off. No. Either gender-segregated friendships are okay or they're not. You don't get special rules because of some abstract structure argument. So, what's it going to be? We both keep our separate groups, or we both drop them. I try the safe spaces angle. Women need women-only spaces for support. And he just nods like he's been waiting for that. Exactly. People need friendships outside their relationship, including men. And that's the moment it hits me. He just used my own logic like a crowbar. About 2 weeks after the Vancouver trip, my book club meets at our apartment. Monthly thing. 8 women, different friend circles mashed together. We talk about the book for like 20 minutes. Then it turns into the usual work gossip, relationship, complaints, life admin. And I start venting about Kyle, how he refuses to integrate our social lives, how he won't see the male bonding reinforces patriarchy, how he won't give up Thursday soccer, even though it affects our equity. My friend Claire, who's a psychologist, asks this careful little question. Does Kyle stop you from seeing your friends or doing your activities? I say no, but that's not the point. Because women-only spaces serve a different function than men-only spaces. Then my friend Jenna jumps in. But you're literally here right now. Women only. 3 hours. Kyle isn't invited. How is that different from his Thursday soccer? My face gets hot. Try explaining the structural stuff again. Patriarchal bonding. Emotional labor. All the terms. Claire pushes back gently. But it lands like a slap. It kind of sounds like you want him to give up his support system. Male friendships are important for men's mental health. Isolating someone from their friends is actually a warning sign in unhealthy relationships. I just sit there stunned. Like, did my own psychologist friend just compare my feminist principles to abuse tactics? The vibe goes off a cliff. Everyone gets weirdly polite. Meeting ends awkward. They do the whole, okay, well, text me thing and leave. Door shuts. And then Kyle comes out of the bedroom. He'd been in there reading the whole time. He leans on the hallway like he's amused. Interesting conversation. I ask how much he heard. He goes, enough. Enough to hear you talking about my friendships with 8 women in our apartment, in a space I'm not welcome, while telling me I shouldn't have spaces where you're not included. I start the different speech again, and he just holds up his hand. I'm not doing this anymore. You can set whatever social rules you want for yourself, but I'm keeping my friends. About a month after Vancouver, his group plans their yearly hiking trip, some 3-day thing in the Cascades. They've apparently done it for like 10 years straight, and when he tells me the dates, my stomach drops. I tell him flat out that I really don't want him to go. Tell him it's another weekend of guy bonding that shuts me out. Tell him if he goes, it proves he's not actually committed to equity in our marriage. He doesn't even argue anymore, just starts packing his hiking stuff like a robot, folds socks, rolls base layers, checks his headlamp batteries. I'm standing there getting angrier by the minute. He finally says, calm as hell, I'm going, my friends matter to me, I'm not picking between my wife and my friendships. I snap back that he literally is picking, that going is choosing them over me, over us. He looks up at me with this expression I've never seen on him before. Not rage, not guilt, just disappointment. No, you're the one making it a choice, and I'm not accepting your terms. And then he leaves, door shuts, and I just stand there in the quiet apartment, feeling like I lost a battle. I didn't agree to fight while he's gone. I go to dinner with my old university friends, all women. We've been meeting once a month forever. Same rotating restaurants, same long talks about careers, relationships, family drama, the usual. I bring up Kyle again because, of course I do. Complain about how attached he is to his male friendships, how he won't integrate our social lives, how he keeps choosing these all-guy rituals. My friend Megan doesn't even soften it. She just goes, you're being a hypocrite. We're literally at an all-women dinner right now. You can't demand he drop his gender-specific friendships while you keep yours. I do the structural power dynamic speech for what feels like the millionth time. How women's spaces are different. How men's spaces uphold the system. And then my friend Tessa, who's usually the most progressive one at the table, surprises me. She says, real calm. I think you might be wrong about this. My husband has his weekly pickup basketball thing, and it's honestly good for our relationship. He comes home happier, less stressed, more present. Men need support too. It feels like getting jumped by my own team. I'm sitting there with my drink halfway to my mouth like, really, even you, nobody's backing me up. Everyone's acting like I'm the bad guy. Kyle gets back from the hiking weekend, sunburned nose, scratches on his legs, smells like pine and trail mix. I decide to switch tactics, try the reasonable compromise voice. What if we meet in the middle? You keep Thursday soccer, but you include me sometimes. And maybe you skip every other weekend trip. He unpacks in silence, boots by the door, dirty clothes in a pile, like he's not even hearing me. Then he finally says, flat, no compromise, I'm keeping my friendships exactly how they are, and you need to decide if you can live with that. It hits like a cold splash of water, because it's not a debate anymore. It's an ultimatum, not from me, from him. A couple months into this whole war, things get weirder. Kyle's friend Logan invites us to his birthday party, mixed crowd, couples, singles, co-workers, normal social thing. Logan's always been nice to me, always made me feel included, so I'm not expecting anything. Then, a week before the party, Kyle says something that throws me. I'm going to Logan's party, but I think you should skip it. I'm like, what? Why would you not want me there? He shrugs. I don't think you'll enjoy it. I tell him I want to go. These are our friends too. He just does this little shrug again. Okay? But don't say I didn't warn you. Night of the party, we show up at Logan's apartment, packed inside. Like 20 people. Kyle's 5 guys are there. Their girlfriends and fiancés, plus a handful of Logan's work people. Immediately feel something off. People greet me, polite. But it's like customer service, polite, quick smile, tiny chat. Then they move on. Kyle's guy friends are still friendly to my face, but their partners are weirdly reserved, like they already decided something about me. I try to blend in anyway. Try talking to a couple of the women about work and life in the city. Get short answers, little nods, no real follow-up questions, like I'm interviewing them at a bus stop. One of the fiancés, Paige, used to be the easiest to talk to. She's normally warm, laughs a lot. This time she's ice. I ask how wedding planning is going. It's going fine, thanks. I ask if she needs help with anything. No, we've got it handled. And then she just looks past me like the conversation expired. Across the room, Kyle is laughing with his friends, relaxed, loose shoulders, the exact vibe I've been calling patriarchal bonding for months. And it makes me feel even more alone. I try to step into their circle. They make space, but the energy shifts instantly. They were talking about Logan getting some new job offer. As soon as I'm there, everyone gets more careful, less joking, less detail, like the topic suddenly needs a privacy filter. I stand there for a minute feeling like a ghost, then drift off to refill my drink. In the kitchen, I hear voices. Paige is talking to another partner. Lauren, I'm not trying to spy. I'm literally grabbing ice, but I hear my name and my body goes cold. Paige goes, I just think it's controlling, you know? Kyle is such a good guy, and she's trying to isolate him from his friends, Lauren replies. Yeah, Ryan told me about the Vancouver thing. Apparently she wanted Kyle to skip the bachelor weekend, or bring her along like a supervisor. Paige does this little scoff laugh. That's not feminist? That's just controlling with a thesaurus. Lauren goes, and the hypocrisy is insane. She has all her women-only stuff, but he's the villain for having guy friends. Paige says, exactly. She wraps it in theory about patriarchal bonding, like it's a TED talk. But it's still the same thing. My face is burning. My hands start shaking. I back away from the counter before they turn around and see me, heart pounding like I just committed a crime. And it clicks. They've been talking about us. The friend group has been talking about my marriage. And the story they're telling each other is, I'm the controlling wife trying to cut him off. I find Kyle, tell him I'm not feeling well, that I want to leave. He doesn't argue, doesn't ask questions, just nods, grabs our coats, and walks out with me. Car ride home is quiet, streetlights sliding over his face, hands steady on the wheel, and I can't hold it in. I confront him. Your friends have been talking about our relationship. Paige and Lauren think I'm controlling. He keeps his eyes on the road, voice even. Are you surprised? You've been pushing me to drop friendships that existed before you and I even met. Of course they noticed. Of course they have opinions. I demand to know what he told them, what he's been saying about me. He doesn't even look over. Nothing you haven't said yourself. That you think male friendships are a problem. That you want all my social time integrated with you. They drew their own conclusions. And that's when I realize how far this has gone. 3 months into this fight, Kyle starts pulling away in a new way. He still goes to Thursday soccer, still does the weekend trips. But he stops telling me anything about them. He used to come home laughing, telling me stories about Ryan's awful jokes, or Logan getting lost on a trail. Now he just comes home, puts his shoes away, says good night, like he's training himself not to share anymore. Now when he comes home, he just goes, "It was good," and immediately pivots to something else. Like the whole night is locked behind a password. Then I notice another change. His friends stop inviting us to anything as a couple. No more dinners, no more casual hangouts where partners come along, no more group hikes where it's mixed and normal. It's like the invites just dry up. I bring it up to Kyle one night. "We never see your friends anymore as a couple." He looks at me steady, not defensive. "Just flat, that's intentional." I'm like, "What do you mean intentional?" He says, "You made it clear you're uncomfortable with my friendships, so I'm keeping them separate from you." I ask what that actually means in practice. And he says it like he's explaining a policy change at work. "It means I still see my friends regularly, but you're not part of that circle anymore." My stomach drops. He keeps going. "You wanted me to choose between respecting your beliefs and keeping my friendships, so I chose my friendships. And I removed the conflict by removing you." I just stare at him, like my brain can't process the audacity. "You're excluding me from your social life. That's emotional abuse." He shakes his head immediately. "No, you tried to exclude me from my own friendships. I'm accepting your boundary that male bonding makes you uncomfortable, so I'm doing it away from you." 4 months into this mess, the split is basically total. Thursday night he goes to soccer, comes home, we eat dinner, he doesn't tell me anything about it. Weekend trips happen, he comes back, we talk groceries, bills, chores, 0 stories, 0 laughing about someone doing something stupid on a trail. His phone buzzes with the group chat. He'll smirk at the screen. I'll ask what's funny. "Just friend stuff. That's it." Meanwhile, my life keeps running like normal. Book club once a month at someone's place. My women-only yoga classes twice a week. Sunday brunch with my college friends. All the same routines. But it starts feeling weird, like I'm doing my stuff and he's doing his stuff and none of it touches. And my own hangouts suddenly feel kind of hollow. Like I'm laughing, but it doesn't reach anything inside me. After book club one night, my friend Claire pulls me aside. She looks concerned. "You seem unhappy. Things still tense with Kyle." I admit we've gotten distant, she asks this blunt question. "Did you get what you wanted?" "I don't even know how to answer," she explains. "You wanted Kyle to change his relationship with his guy friends? And he did." It hits me a second later. He did change it, just not the way I meant. He changed it by cutting me out of the equation entirely. 5 months after I started this whole crusade, we have a blow-up. Kyle comes home from another hiking weekend, and I'm waiting with what I think is a solution. I signed us up for a couples pottery class, Thursday nights, 6 weeks. Figured we'd do something together, something shared, something that forces us to have a life outside of work and conflict. I tell him like it's a gift. He checks the schedule on his phone and immediately shakes his head. Thursday is soccer. I start explaining how pottery could be good for us, how we need shared activities, how it's a perfect chance to build something together. He doesn't move an inch. I'm not skipping soccer for pottery. If you want pottery, pick a different night. I accuse him of prioritizing his friends over his marriage, and he laughs, but it's not funny. Laughter, it's this dry, sharp sound. He goes, "You know what's funny? You complained I spend like 20 hours a month with my friends. You spend basically the same amount with book club, yoga, and brunch, but somehow your social time is essential, and mine is a problem." I try to launch into the structural differences again, women's spaces versus men's spaces, power dynamics, and he cuts me off, hard. I don't want another lecture about patriarchal bonding. I'm keeping my friends, I'm keeping soccer, I'm keeping the hiking trips. You can accept it or not, but I'm done negotiating my friendships. I snap and say, "The marriage can't survive this level of non-compromise." His reply is ice cold. Then I guess we'll find out. 6 months into the war, I go back to the Feminist Facebook group because I'm desperate and angry and I want validation. I post again. My husband has completely separated his social life from mine. He excludes me from friend activities while keeping all his male bonding time, refuses to compromise or integrate. Is this grounds to consider separation? Get a mix of responses. Some people are on my side. He's showing his true colors. Male friends are clearly more important than his wife. This is why men never unlearn patriarchy. But way more comments are critical than last time. You pushed him away. You demanded he end gender-specific friendships. He's protecting his boundaries. You tried to bulldoze. This isn't exclusion, it's self-protection. One comment hits me like a punch from a self-described feminist therapist. She basically says she's read my posts over months and sees a pattern that I tried to control his friendships while keeping mine, use theory to justify double standards, and when he didn't comply, I labeled his boundaries as abuse. She tells me to consider that I might be creating the unhealthy dynamic. I sit there staring at the screen with my throat tight. Delete the post. Leave the group 7 months in. The social split starts poisoning everything else. He goes out with his friends, comes home pleasant but distant. We eat dinner, we talk logistics, we go to bed. No real intimacy, not emotional, not physical, no shared jokes, no warmth. He knows everything about my book club and yoga and brunch because I still talk. I know nothing about his Thursdays and weekends because he stopped sharing. Finally, I confront him straight up. We're like roommates. You've shut me out completely. He actually thinks for a second, then says, calm and brutal, I shut you out of my friendships because you turned them into a battleground, and everything else shut down after that. He looks at me like he's seeing me clearly for the first time. If you can't respect all of me, including my friends, then what's even left here? I snap back that he's punishing me for having principles versus for caring about equity. He doesn't bite. This isn't about feminism. This is about you trying to cut me off from my support system while keeping yours untouched. That's not progressive. That's control. Then he says the part that makes my chest tighten. And when I didn't let you control me, you called my boundaries betrayal. I want to scream, but I just stand there feeling stupid and angry at the same time, like I stepped on a rake and it's my own fault. About 8 months into this slow-motion wreck, Claire texts me, asks if I can grab coffee, just the two of us. Not brunch, not book club, not a group thing where everyone talks over each other. We meet at some little cafe with mismatched chairs and sad muffins. She's serious the second she sits down. I'm worried about you and Kyle. You barely talk about him anymore. And when you do, it's only to criticize his friendships. She pauses, watching my face, and you sound miserable. It cracks something in me. I admit it out loud. The marriage is falling apart. He shut me out completely, kept all his friendships sealed off from me. We barely connect anymore. We're like co-workers sharing an apartment. Claire stirs her coffee slowly, then says it, gentle but direct. You pushed him into a corner. You demanded he either give up decade-plus friendships or integrate you into everything. So he found a third option, keep the friendships and protect them from your criticism by keeping you out. I try to defend myself. Tell her I only wanted equity. She shakes her head. Equity doesn't mean identical. He has Thursday soccer. You have book club. He has weekend trips sometimes. You have yoga and your Sunday brunches. That's already balanced. She looks me straight in the eye. What you wanted was control over how he relates to his friends. And when you couldn't control it, you got angry at the consequences. I feel my throat tighten because part of me knows she's not totally wrong. Then she drops the part that really hurts. I've been a therapist for over a decade. I've seen controlling behavior from men and women. Trying to isolate a partner from friends is a classic red flag. It doesn't stop being a red flag because you wrap it in theory. It's still isolation. It's still control. I just sit there staring at my cup, devastated, like she took all my language and turned it against me. 9 months into this death spiral, I'm at book club. We're talking about some novel about a marriage that's quietly rotting. The kind where nobody cheats, nobody screams, they just slowly stop being close. One of the characters keeps trying to reshape their spouse into this ideal version. The discussion turns into that question. Can you actually change your partner? Or do you either accept them or leave? One of the women, Maya, says this offhand line. Sometimes we say we want equity. But what we really want is compliance. We slap a progressive label on a demand so it sounds nicer. It hits me in the ribs. I look around the room. 8 women I've known forever. The same monthly ritual. The same safe space. And it finally clicks in a way I can't dodge. I've been attacking Kyle for wanting what I already have. Regular time with same-gender friends who get his world. A place where he can vent without filtering everything through husband mode. A break from relationship tension. A support system outside of me. I have that. I've always had that. Book club, yoga, brunch. And I demanded he give his version up while I protected mine. And I kept justifying it with power structure language like that. Magically erased the double standard. That night I go home, and I actually try honesty for once. I find Kyle on the couch with his laptop open. He looks tired before I even speak. I say it anyway. I think I've been wrong about your friendships. He blinks up at me like he's not sure he heard right. Okay. I keep going before I can chicken out. My women-only stuff matters to me. Book club, yoga, brunch. You should be able to have the same kind of thing with your guy friends. He closes the laptop slowly. What changed your mind? I tell him the truth, that friends called me out, that I finally had to face how hypocritical I sounded, that I was trying to control his friendships while protecting my own, that I use theory to justify a double standard, and that's on me. He sits there quiet for a long time. Then he nods once. I appreciate you saying that, but you fought me on this for 9 months. And then it comes out. All the damage I wasn't letting myself see. You told your friends I was basically a patriarch in a hoodie. You made my friendships sound toxic. You created a situation where it felt like I had to choose between you and them. An apology doesn't rewind that. I ask if there's any way to fix it. His answer is brutal because it's calm. I don't know. I can't go back to including you in that circle. They've seen how you talk about them and about me. Then he names names, and it stings because it's real. Paige and Lauren actively don't like you now. Ryan and Logan are polite if they see you, but they don't trust you. I can't bring you back into that space. And I realize sitting there that I didn't just strain my marriage, I poisoned his friendships with me attached to them. I made myself the hazard label on his social life. Around 10 months after I started this crusade, Kyle comes home from Thursday soccer, not angry, not soft, just matter of fact. I'm going to Montreal next month for a work conference, Friday through Tuesday. Then he adds, like it's a weather update, Ryan, Logan, and Derek are going to be there too. Different thing, same city. We're going to meet up in the evenings. I feel that reflex rise up, the urge to say something, to make it a fight, to point out it's another guy's trip, and I catch myself mid-breath. Okay, that sounds nice. He actually looks surprised, like he expected the usual explosion. No objections? I tell him I'm trying to respect his friendships. He nods slowly. Good. Then he says the quiet part out loud. Because I'm going either way, but I appreciate you not turning it into a war. And it hits me. This is the new normal. He's not asking, he's informing me. My opinion isn't part of the decision anymore. He's removed my voice from that entire category of his life, because I abused it when I had it. A full year after I lit the match. I suggest couples therapy, not as some cute relationship tune-up, as a last-ditch Hail Mary, because our marriage feels dead. We live together, split bills, talk schedules, go to bed, no real closeness, no sex, no emotional warmth. He has his world, I have mine, and we share a lease. We sit in an office with beige walls and a bowl of stale mints. Therapist is a middle-aged woman named Dr. Patel, calm voice, professional smile. She asks us what the main issues are, and I hear myself saying it out loud, that I got fixated on gendered social patterns, that I wanted equity and more integrated social life, and that Kyle responded by shutting me out completely. Kyle's version to the therapist is way shorter than mine. She tried to get me to cut off my friends. I said no. Now she's mad about what happened after. Dr. Patel turns to me and asks what I meant by concerns. I start unloading the whole framework, male bonding rituals, gender-segregated social patterns, how it reinforces certain dynamics, how it can turn into emotional avoidance at home, how it props up the boys first mentality. She listens without interrupting, no eye rolling, no smirking, just taking it in. Then she asks really calmly, "Do you have women-only friendships and activities?" I have to admit, yes. Book club, my yoga studio, the monthly brunches, she nods. And do those reinforce matriarchy or female dominance? I start to launch into the power structure explanation. The whole, it's different because, she holds up her hand. I get the theory. I literally teach gender studies at a local university. And that stops me cold, because I was not expecting the therapist to pull rank on my vocabulary, she continues, still calm. But theory isn't a weapon you get to use selectively to manage your partner. Either gender-segregated friendships are okay for both of you, or they're not okay for either of you. You've been running two different standards, one for me, one for Kyle. I feel my face heat up, defensive immediately. Kyle jumps in before I even can. I spent like 10 months trying to tell her that. Anything I said got labeled privilege or male conditioning or whatever. She only started hearing it once her own friends called her out, does a doctor. Patel turns to him, asks how it felt on his end, and he doesn't even hesitate. Betrayed. These guys have been in my life since I was 19. They were there for everything: school, my dad getting sick, career stuff, moving states, and my wife tried to convince me they were a bad influence. Like spending time with them made me a worse husband. Then he says the word that makes my stomach drop. She tried to isolate me. And hearing it out loud like that is a punch, because in my head I'm the one with the principles, not the one doing something ugly. Dr. Patel doesn't let that pass. She looks right at me. Isolation from friends and support systems is a known abuse tactic. It doesn't matter if the person doing it is a man or a woman, and dressing control up in progressive language doesn't magically make it not control. Her voice isn't mean, but it's firm. You need to understand that what you attempted was harmful. Demanding a partner give up decade-old friendships is not feminism. It's coercion. Session ends with homework. Mine. I'm supposed to write out why my women-only friendships matter to me, what needs they meet, then reflect on whether those same needs might apply to Kyle's friendships. 2 weeks later, we're back in that beige office again. Same bowl of mints. Same awkward chair positioning. I read my notes like I'm presenting a report. I admit my women friends give me things Kyle can't. Shared experience. Career stuff that hits differently as a woman. The social pressure nonsense. A place to vent about relationship stress without my partner sitting right there. A support network that keeps me from dumping everything onto my marriage. Doctor, Patel asks one simple question. And don't Kyle's friends do that for him? I hate how obvious it sounds, but I have to say yes. Kyle adds on, in this quiet, honest voice. I love you, but I can't talk to you about everything. Sometimes I need Nate's perspective on work stress, or Derek's advice about family planning, or I just need to run around for an hour and shut my brain off. My friends aren't competing with our marriage. They support it. They keep me steady. And it finally lands in my head the way it should have months ago. I treated his friendships like a rival, like a threat, instead of the thing that was keeping him mentally balanced. Over a year after this all started, the marriage is technically still alive. But it's like a plant that's not dead yet, just not growing. We live together, we're polite, we coordinate bills and groceries, but the intimacy is gone, emotional and physical. He still does Thursday soccer and the occasional weekend trips. I still do my book club and yoga and brunches, but we don't have a shared social life at all anymore. His friends don't invite me. My friends stopped asking about him. We run parallel like two trains on different tracks. Valentine's Day rolls around, and Kyle randomly makes a reservation at a nice place downtown. First romantic gesture in forever. Dinner is fine, pleasant, but stiff. Like we're on a first date where neither person is sure there'll be a second. I try to reconnect the only way I know how. Ask about his life, work, projects, anything. He gives me these short little updates. Then I mention one of his friends. Oh, how's Nate doing? Because I heard his name once in passing. Kyle pauses mid-bite, looks at me like he's doing a risk assessment. I don't know if you actually care, or if you're just playing nice. I insist I care. But the second it leaves my mouth, I hear how fake it sounds. Because I spent a year acting like his friendships were poison. Now I'm suddenly asking for friendly updates like I'm entitled to them. It feels performative, even to me. Not long after that, my friend Maya gets engaged. She asked me to be a bridesmaid, and she says it like it's important. Bring Kyle to the engagement party. We want both of you there. It's at her fiancé's parents' house. Full couples vibe, I tell Kyle. He checks his calendar. Yeah, I can come. We drive there in this awkward silence, radio low, both of us staring forward like we're headed to a dentist appointment. At the party, Maya immediately pulls me aside, huggy, excited. I'm so glad you both came. I miss seeing you two together. You've both been solo at everything lately. And I don't even know what to say to that. Her fiancé Brandon knows Kyle from some rec league stuff. I watch Kyle slide into a conversation with Brandon and a few other guys, and it's like watching someone breathe fresh air. He's relaxed, laughing, easy, the version of him I almost never get anymore at home. Maya catches me watching. She says softly, "He looks happy." I nod. Because, yeah, he does. She's quiet for a second. Then she leans in and lowers her voice. "Can I be honest with you as your friend?" And my stomach drops because I know what's coming, she says. "Everyone's noticed you and Kyle feel disconnected. And we know there was drama about his friends. Whatever happened with you two, it damaged more than you meant to." I admit the marriage is struggling. Maya squeezes my arm, sympathetic but not sugarcoating it. "I'm saying this as your friend who's about to get married. You need to figure out what you actually want. Do you want to be married to Kyle, or do you want to be right? Because you don't get both." That line sits in my head like a rock for weeks. 18 months after I started this whole crusade, everything hits a wall. Kyle comes home from another weekend trip, and I'm trying harder now, trying to rebuild connection. So I ask, like I've started doing more often, "How was it?" He gives the same bland answer he always does now. "Fine. Good weather." I push a little. "Just fine." "What did you guys do?" He looks exhausted, like even the question drains him. "Why do you want to know?" I tell him I'm trying to be interested in his life, trying to not be shut out. He doesn't even raise his voice, which somehow makes it worse. "For 18 months you've been clear my friendships are a problem. I'm not giving you ammunition by handing you details." My eyes sting. And then I'm crying. Embarrassing, ugly crying. I'm trying to fix it. I said I was wrong. I admitted I was wrong about trying to control your friends, but you won't let me back in. Kyle sits down heavy on the couch, like he's carrying a backpack full of rocks. "You spent a year trying to end friendships that are central to who I am. You called my closest friends toxic influences. You told me time with them made me a worse husband. And now you want me to trust you with details about those same relationships?" I wipe my face and ask what I can do. What does rebuilding trust even look like? He stares at the floor for a long second. "I don't know if you can." Then he says something that makes my stomach drop again. "My friends and their partners see you as a threat now, because you tried to set a precedent that wives can veto men's friendships." He names people. "Paige told Lauren she's terrified. Ryan will marry someone who tries to isolate him, like you tried with me. The friendships survived, but they're permanently changed." And I realize even my apology didn't undo the ripple effect. It just stopped me from making new damage. 2 years after I first tried to ban his friendships. We separate, no screaming match, no cheating, no big betrayal, just this quiet mutual understanding that the marriage is already dead. Kyle finds a small apartment closer to his job. We agree to split everything fairly. No ugly fight over furniture, no dragging friends into it. We go to mediation, and the lawyer asks why we're separating. Kyle is simple and direct. Irreconcilable differences about autonomy and friendships. My answer comes out slower, more honest than I expected. I tried to change a core part of who he is, and I destroyed our relationship doing it. The lawyer actually looks surprised, like people don't usually admit that out loud. Kyle doesn't look smug, he just looks sad. Moving out day is weirdly quiet. Kyle packs efficiently, clothes, books, a couple pieces of furniture we agreed he'd take, no drama, no lingering in doorways. When he loads the last box into his car, he turns back to me. "I want you to know I don't hate you." And my throat tightens. He keeps going. "I get that you thought you were acting on principles, but you use feminism to justify controlling behavior. And you couldn't admit you were wrong until it was too late." I ask the desperate question anyway. "If there's any chance we can fix it." He shakes his head once. I can't be with someone who tried to isolate me from my support system. Even if you see it differently now, the fact you did it at all is a deal breaker for me. I need a partner who respects my whole self, including my friendships. You proved you couldn't be that person. 2 years and a couple months after we split, the divorce is finalized. Simple paperwork. No kids, no huge assets, just a marriage ending clean because it already died messy. I make a post in a different feminist Facebook group about it, word it carefully, about how control is still control even if you wrap it in progressive language. I get some thoughtful replies. Thank you for the honesty. Important reminder, feminism isn't about managing men. Hope you heal, but I also get some brutal ones. You tried to isolate your husband and called it feminism. People like you give the movement a bad name. You handed men's rights dudes free ammo. One comment is especially vicious. You're literally the cautionary tale people warn about. Using progressive language to justify regressive control, hope other women learn from you. 3 years after all this started, I see Kyle post an engagement announcement. Engaged to a woman named Elena. She's an architect. Photo of them at some mountain cabin. Her hand out showing a ring. Both of them smiling like it's easy. I click her profile like a creep, and there it is. She's friends with Paige and Lauren and the other women from his group. The comments are full of his guys too. Finally, man. So happy for you both. She's perfect for you. Can't wait for the wedding. And it hits me like a dull ache. He found someone who didn't fight his friendships, someone who fit into that world instead of trying to dismantle it. 3.5 years after we separated, I run into Kyle and Elena at an outdoor market. Lots of people, food stalls, handmade crafts. They're walking around relaxed and happy. Elena has a scarf from his rec league draped over her shoulders. Kyle notices me first, gives me a polite nod. Hey, how have you been? We do brief small talk, the shallow, polite kind, and Elena is actually warm, smiles at me like she doesn't have baggage with my name. Kyle told me about you. I hope you're doing okay. And I just stand there nodding, trying not to look like a ghost at my own funeral. As they're about to walk off at the market, I can't stop myself. I nod at the scarf on Elena's shoulders. What's with the soccer scarf? She smiles like it's the most normal thing in the world. Oh, I started playing with a women's team. We practice the same night as Kyle's Thursday group. So we both do our games, then we all grab drinks after. It's honestly really fun, and it hits me right in the chest. She found the exact solution I claimed I wanted, but without the lectures, without the demands. She didn't try to reshape his world. She just stepped into it naturally, kept her own life, added herself to his. Without making it a battlefield, they say goodbye, walk away into the crowd. Kyle's arm settles around her shoulders like it belongs there, that same easy affection he used to have with me, back before I made his friendships into a war zone. 4 years after my attempt to control his friendships blew up my marriage. Maya's wedding finally happens. I'm a bridesmaid, like we planned. Kyle is there too, as Brandon's guest, because they're still sports buddies. Elena is there with him, and she's clearly comfortable with his whole circle during the reception. I watch her laughing with Paige and Lauren, the same women who called me controlling and hypocritical years ago. They're leaning in, touching her arm, actually warm, like they've known her forever. They obviously love her. Maya catches me staring, leans close and says softly, "She's great, isn't she?" "Really good fit for Kyle," I ask. What makes her such a good fit, even though I already know? Maya tries to be kind about it, but she's honest. She respects his friendships. She doesn't treat them like competition. She has her own friends and her own stuff. They support each other's independence. It's everything I said I wanted, and everything I actually fought against. Later, Kyle gives a toast as Brandon's friend. And of course, it's about friendship. Of course it is. He stands there holding a glass, calm voice, room quieting down. "Brandon, you're gaining a wife, but you're not losing your friends. Real partnership means you both have support systems outside the relationship. Maya understands that, and Elena understands that. May you build a marriage strengthened by friendship, not threatened by it." The whole room claps, and I swear it feels like he's talking directly at me through time, like he's giving a eulogy for my marriage without saying my name. 5 years after I tried to ban his friendships, my career starts reflecting the same ugly pattern. I'm still at the same agency, same building, same clients, and I've been passed over for promotion twice. The feedback is always phrased politely, but it stings. Collaboration concerns, team dynamics. You can be inflexible about approaches. You struggle to accept perspectives that don't match your vision. Team members feel unheard when their input contradicts yours. And I read it and I'm like, oh, it's me. It's the same exact thing, my way or the wrong way, but with nicer vocabulary. Meanwhile, I see Kyle's update on LinkedIn, promoted to senior engineering manager, comments pouring in. Best leader I've worked under, creates space where everyone contributes, balances vision with collaboration. And I just sit there feeling sick because those are qualities I never developed. I was too busy needing to be right. 5.5 years after the separation, Claire asks me to meet for coffee again. She moved to Seattle, but she's visiting. She looks at me and says it straight. I wanted to check in. You seem stuck since the divorce. I admit I am. I tell her I destroyed my marriage over ideology, pushed away a good man because I couldn't admit I was wrong until it was too late. She doesn't let me hide behind the word ideology. She's gentle, but she's clear. You're still framing it like a debate. It wasn't. It was control dressed up as principles. She keeps going, and every sentence is a mirror I don't want. You tried to isolate him from friends while keeping yours. You ran double standards and called it theory. And when he resisted, you framed his boundaries like an attack on feminism. That isn't progressive, it's manipulative. I ask if she thinks I've learned anything, and she just raises her eyebrows at me. Have you actually had to sit with that question? 6 years after I wrecked my marriage trying to manage his friendships, I see the wedding photos. Kyle and Elena, small ceremony at a mountain cabin, close friends, close family. And there they are in the pictures. His core guys, their partners, all the people who watch me try to cut him off. Everyone looks genuinely happy for them. Kyle's caption says something like, "Married my best friend today, surrounded by our best friends, grateful for everyone who supports our partnership." The comments are all celebration, and one from Ryan hits me harder than it should. You deserve this happiness, man. After everything, I'm so glad you found the right person. After everything, it feels pointed even if it isn't. Like a quiet "we remember." 6.5 years after we split, I start seeing someone new. Guy named Marcus, met him through work, slow relationship. He's divorced too. 2 kids, alternating weeks early on, he tells me. Casual, like it's just logistics. Wednesdays are my badminton night. Me and the guys, it's sacred. I feel my reflex kick up automatically. My brain reaching for the old speech, gender patterns, segregation, all of it. And I catch myself mid-thought because I know exactly where that road goes. I just smile and say, that's great. Consistent friend time is healthy. I've got book club and yoga anyway. Marcus looks visibly relieved, like his shoulders drop. My ex-wife hated badminton night, said I was choosing friends over family, but honestly it kept me balanced, and the irony tastes metallic in my mouth, because I used to be that ex-wife, 7 years after I tried to ban Kyle's friendships. Here's where I am, still at the same agency, no promotion, dating Marcus casually, and keeping expectations low. Book club still once a month, yoga twice a week, brunches with friends, the exact social life I always defended as essential, the same one I tried to deny him. And now it just feels like a loop I can't break. Run into Kyle and Elena at this little bookstore downtown, and they're not alone. They've got a newborn with them. Tiny little bundle in one of those chest carriers. They're standing in the children's section, like it's the most normal thing in the world. Board books, bright colors, stuff that squeaks if you press it. Elena spots me first, smiles immediately. "Oh, hi, how are you?" And she's genuinely warm about it, like she doesn't need to punish me for history that isn't hers. Kyle turns and gives me a polite nod. Cordial, comfortable, the look of a man who's not fighting anything anymore. The baby is maybe a few months old, tiny face, sleepy eyes. Elena says, proud and casual, "This is Lila. The kid is adorable." And of course, she looks like Kyle. Same eyes, same little serious expression, like she's already judging the world. I do the polite thing, tell them she's beautiful, say the standard so cute lines. Elena starts talking about how things have been with a newborn, and she mentions their support system like it's oxygen. We're so lucky to have amazing friends. Ryan and Paige have been dropping off meals. Derek and Tessa came over and made sure we installed the car seat right. Everyone's been ridiculously helpful, Kyle adds, matter of fact. Having a solid friend network makes parenting so much easier. We're not doing this alone. And I stand there nodding, smiling, acting normal. But inside it's like someone is twisting a knife slowly, because that's the exact support system I tried to wipe out. The thing I framed as problematic. And now it's literally holding up his family. 7.5 years after I started trying to manage his friendships, that's the final scoreboard. Kyle has Elena and a baby, and career momentum, and the same core friend group. Thursday soccer still happens. The monthly hiking weekends still happen. The same guys, just now he has a partner who doesn't treat it like betrayal. Elena's friends overlap with theirs. The women who used to side-eye me clearly love her. They built a community without anyone demanding identical social patterns. Separate time, shared time, it all just works. Meanwhile, I'm older and basically in the same spot, alone most of the time. Career stalled, still doing the same routines I always defended. Book club, yoga, girls' brunch. The exact gender-segregated stuff I insisted was fine for me, while calling his version dangerous. I've been dating Marcus on and off, pleasant guy, but there's always this invisible wall. He guards his friend time like it's classified information, and I can feel why. His ex tried to police him the same way I did, so he's not risking it again. And the worst part is, I can't even blame him for that. One night Maya invites me to dinner, just the two of us. Haven't done one-on-one in a while. She doesn't ease into it. She looks at me across the table and says, "I'm worried about you. It's been years and you still seem stuck in the same place." I admit I don't really know how to move forward. She asks the question that makes my stomach drop. Have you actually processed what went wrong with Kyle? My reflex is to go, it was ideological. We had different values, but she stops me instantly. No, that's not what happened. You tried to control him. You use feminist language to justify double standards. You damaged his friendships. And then you acted shocked when he protected them by keeping you out. She doesn't yell. She just says it like it's obvious. And it's brutal because it's accurate. And you still talk about it like it was a philosophical disagreement. 8. Years after everything, I'm scrolling Facebook in December, and I see their Christmas card post, photo of Kyle and Elena and their daughter at that same mountain cabin, the one they got married near, matching sweaters, snow in the background, caption about gratitude for family and friends, comments full of his guys and their partners, Ryan, Derek, Logan, and all the women too. Paige writes something like, "Best Christmas with the best people. So grateful for our friend family." And I just stare at it, because they built exactly what I claim to want. A community that supports marriages and kids in real life. They just built it with respect and autonomy, not with control and conformity. 8.5 years after the split, I'm in therapy again. Different therapist this time. Dr. Kim, she asks about patterns always, why relationships keep feeling the way they do. And I end up telling her the whole Kyle story, how I tried to change his friendships and it destroyed us. I start describing it like a campaign, and I say the quiet word out loud. I tried to eliminate his male bonding time. Doctor, Kim stops me right there. Did you eliminate your female bonding time? And I can't even pretend I admit I didn't. She says it back to me, plain and sharp. So you tried to eliminate his support system while maintaining your own. Hearing it, that cleanly stated, is devastating, because there's nowhere to hide inside it. She nods slowly. That isn't feminism or equity. That's isolation and control. Textbook emotionally abusive behavior. 9 years after I blew up my marriage trying to manage his friendships. This is where things stand. Kyle's married to Elena. Their daughter is a toddler now, and they're expecting another kid. He's a senior engineering manager, career solid, friend group intact. Thursday soccer, still sacred. Hiking weekends still happen. But now he comes home to someone who supports it instead of treating it like a threat. Elena has her own friends, her own activities. They built a shared life without losing themselves. The thing I said I wanted, the thing I couldn't actually handle, me, I'm 44 now, still at the same agency, same title, passed over for promotion again last year. Same feedback copy-pasted. Struggles with collaborative leadership. Difficulty accepting input that conflicts with her approach. Pattern recognition is painful as hell. I've been with Marcus casually for a couple years. He's made it clear he's not doing marriage again. Been there, learned my lesson, and I know what that lesson is without him saying it. Don't marry someone who'll try to control your friendships. My book club just hit its 10-year anniversary. Same core women, same monthly meeting, still valuable, still important. But now it's also this constant reminder. I defended my right to gender-segregated friendships while trying to erase his. I wrapped it in theory, called it equity. And I burned my marriage down with it.